Divisional weekend is over. We are on to championship weekend on Sunday. 4 teams left for the right to play for the Super Bowl. It's going to be a lot of fun as we recap all divisional round matchups in previewing championship weekend. Plus, we get to championship weekend picks between 2 very good contenders. And I'm not one of them. I'm the loser in the house. Yeah, I am the loser. I am admitting it. I am the loser. But yeah, a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. It all comes your way next on episode 201 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to episode 201 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. As always, a huge thanks to our sponsors, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation with a new name coming soon, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS podcast for 12% off your order every single time. And in this corner, with a number 1 seeded Baltimore Ravens with a 34-10 victory over the Texans, we welcome the weapon, Dan Dembski.
What's going on, man? Let's go. Number 1 seed. The big challenge ahead this weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs come into M&T Bank Stadium. You like my, it's a Chris Berman type of impression, but yeah, it's going to be an intense game. It's going to be an intense Sunday, and I'm sure my heart will be racing throughout all 60 minutes of that football game for sure.
As always, glad to have you, Dan.
Yes, sir.
And in the other corner, the number 3 seeded Kansas City Chiefs with a 3-point victory over the Buffalo Bills, and they travel to the bank, M&T Bank, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez.
Correction, sir. Your reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion.
Get it all in.
Kansas City Chiefs are coming to take down those Ravens. I'm excited. I'm very excited. This is going to be a tall task. It will definitely be a tall task for Kansas City. Baltimore has the advantage. We all know how crazy M&T Bank Stadium is. Dan, I wish you the best of luck. We're obviously going to break this game down a little bit later, but man, we couldn't have written this any better. We couldn't have written it any better.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? They got if you're watching us on YouTube, they got the jerseys on as well, supporting their teams.
Yeah. Let's go.
The Ravens and the Chiefs.
15 is greater than 8, so therefore I win.
It is the larger number. You've got
it
that
is the
right.
larger number.
You're not wrong.
Last year's MVP against this year's MVP.
You couldn't ask for more. Really, you could not ask for more. Like,
for you guys to get to the Super Bowl, you have to beat the defending Super Bowl champs. Like, oh my God. This is cinema. This is cinema. Like, you could not... For Lamar Jackson to try to get to his first Super Bowl and having to do that, to go through the guy who is basically considered the best in the NFL right now, who won the MVP last year, who won the Super Bowl last year. It's just poetic. It just makes perfect sense. Yep, I totally agree.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're gonna break this all down later. But still, I can just see M&T Bank sold out, everybody up on their feet, and that crowd for a regular season game, which we've been to twice, boys. But in the postseason, in an AFC Championship
Well,
game,
hold on, just think. We were there when the weather was terrible. The weather's not going to be terrible this Sunday.
It's going to be nice for this time of year. 50s,
Mhm.
60s, going to be good
It's
weather
going to
for
be
everybody.
it's going to be great football weather.
Yeah, perfect.
I bet you real fan Dan's pulling out all the tricks for the AFC
Oh,
Championship.
he's definitely going shirtless at one point.
Well, he went shirtless on Sunday, and you know how cold it was this Sunday. So Sunday, whatever it was.
Saturday was Saturday.
Oh, it's hard to keep up anymore.
Post snowstorm.
Right. So,
Well, as we are doing this, we are going through the games in order. So therefore, on Saturday, as I mentioned earlier, the Baltimore Ravens with a 34-10 victory over the Houston Texans. I mean, the Ravens obviously were the better team. Congratulations to Houston. They have a lot going for them come next year, but I mean, this was obviously the Ravens game. They played really good, in my opinion. Lamar Jackson over 100 yards rushing, and it just seemed like all around a complete game. I'm not sure what you have to add to this, Dan, but I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the Ravens' victory over the Texans.
well, it was a complimentary win, as it has been throughout most of the end of the season when we've beaten these playoff teams. It started the defense was pretty much great from the start, only giving up 3 points the entire game. Obviously, Houston's only touchdown comes on that punt return right before the half, which seemed like it was going to be a momentum-changing moment as, going into halftime. It goes from, 10-3 to all knotted up at 10 apiece. And the Ravens are one of the best third-quarter teams, and they're really great coming out of the locker room making adjustments. They have been all season. And it showed to start the third quarter in this game. They came out hot, and I thought the biggest difference offensively was how quick the passing scheme changed from, in the first half, I felt like Lamar was holding the ball too long. They had too many longer developing routes downfield, and so he took more hits. He took more sacks early on in the game. Did have a couple nice runs, of course, but you got to give credit where credit's due for Todd Monken to do the quick passes, and it really made all the difference. Houston couldn't slow down the quick passes. Then the Ravens got the running game going with Lamar Jackson and, of course, Justice Hill and Edwards and Dalvin Cook even got it on the action too. So it was just a well-rounded game once again. And I just can't say enough about this team and how resilient they've been. I think a lot of teams be in that situation. You could hear how quiet it was going into halftime, and it just felt deflating as a fan. For them to come out and rattle off 24 unanswered points and run away with this game is so impressive. And then on top of that, for the defense to keep Houston out of the end zone the entire second half was just extremely impressive as well, and only holding them to 213 total yards of offense, which is almost unheard in this day and age in the National Football League. And you also had Justin Tucker once again finding his mojo, made a 53-yard kick in that cold wind. So I don't think he really ever lost his mojo. I think a lot of people were overreacting earlier in the season, myself included, to his 2 misses or whatever he had around October or so. So that's really all I have. I think it was just a complete game once again. This defense has just proven time and time again how ferocious they can be. And I think it's a really good matchup, as I know we'll talk about this game with Kansas City's offense. We'll see. We'll see how this defense goes. But I really thought C.J. Stroud played a good game. I think the Ravens, they definitely got a lot of pressure on him. They hit him a lot. Being a young quarterback, stepping into the spotlight, and I thought he did about as well as he could. They just need a few more pieces, and they just need a little bit more time as well when you have a young team like Houston. So all the credit in the world to what DeMeco Ryans has been able to do down there in Houston. I think they're going to be a great team for years to come. If they can continue to build around C.J. Stroud, they will be in good shape. And they just ran into a buzzsaw, especially in that second half. And I felt like the Ravens just played about as perfect of a second half as you can play, and they live on and they host Kansas City in the AFC title game on Sunday. Man, it's crazy. I never could have seen this coming. I know
They avoided the Arrowhead Invitational, luckily, but it's
that's
fine.
right. That's
It's
right.
fine. It's fine.
Kansas
It's
City,
okay.
the road playoff warriors this year, man.
I guess they're gonna have to be if they want to make it back to the bowl. But
That's right.
no, yeah, I mean, did you guys hear about Lamar's
Halftime speech.
Yeah, apparently it's very
profanity laced.
But apparently it woke the guys up, and that's what they needed. Look, that's the beautiful thing about this team. This really feels like Lamar's team. It doesn't feel like other teams in the past where guys love Lamar. He's a great teammate, but it never really felt like it was his team. But like with the new contract and everything, and just the way he has commanded this team this season, this really does feel like Lamar's team. Like, and you're right. The way your coordinator's name is Munkin, right?
Yeah, Todd.
Todd Munkin. Yeah, the way he was able to have a plan B, which is something that Greg Roman never had. He never had a plan B. If things weren't working out, it just wasn't working out. But the way this guy was able to flip it and instead, switch it to more of a quick passing game, and also the run game finally, developing and being able to execute on that was huge. Because this game was not going well in the first half. And granted, you can definitely attest that to some rust, because remember, this team didn't play a lot of the starters did not play week 18. So
Lamar
they basically had 2 weeks off.
Two or three weeks total.
2 weeks, basically 2 weeks off. So, you're going to develop some rust, and, you're not riding that momentum that you're riding at the end of the season. Cause at that point you haven't played. So, for them to, correct the ship in the second half and really calm the nerves of Ravens fans, because obviously, the group texts weren't necessarily the best. And coming from Dan, you could tell was a little tense.
I felt like that was better than usual.
Better than usual, because we all figured they're going to get it together. Like they have to wake up at some point. But you could tell you were definitely tense. You weren't scorched earth like you've been sometimes. We're like, this team isn't going to win anything. Yada yada. Like, no, you were just like, you're like, this can't happen. Like, and I understand also what happened against Tennessee and what happened against the Chargers. The Chargers, Lamar's first year. I understand, because as a Cowboys fan too, I understand the hurt, like the trauma that comes from that, and being like, is this really happening again? Like, so I totally get it. It's okay. The Baltimore Ravens came through. And I mean, Agent Zero, man. I just can't. I love Roquan.
Good. He's all over the field.
He's so good, dude. Roquan Smith. That's why I have his jersey.
It's crazy. My dad was like, I haven't seen Roquan this drive, and then like he made 3 straight tackles. I was like, there he is, right there. I mean,
Roquan is a beast, man. He's really changed that defense for the better since arriving, and really helped Patrick Queen. And
one of the best moves they've ever made.
100%.
Free agency is concerned,
100%. That was a trade, if I remember correctly. 100%. One of the best moves made, and
definitely fleeced them. Definitely fleeced the Bears for that.
But I mean, it was a dominant performance by the Ravens in the second half, and now they got to face the champs. Now they got to face the champs.
To be the best, you've got to beat the best.
To be the man, you got to beat the man. So here we go.
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it was just electrifying to see.
Dude, you just brought my mood down with that. Like, I'm actually kind of sad that you're not involved in this. That you don't really have a dog in this fight right now.
I mean, I'm just a casual football watcher, as I am every year for the past what?
No,
well,
here we go. Here we go.
No, I'm just saying. But
I'm just saying.
I mean, it's pretty typical, but anyways, I just like how explosive. I feel like the Ravens played with explosiveness, and they went to shun that second half, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this defense performs against an explosive Kansas City offense, which we will get to later. But Overall, just a great win. I think you touched on pretty much everything, you two. So, but just a great win. But I will go back to one thing when the oh, when the Ravens let up that punt return, I was just looking at my phone and I saw a text come from Dan. I'm like, he is not happy.
Yeah, and I just said that can't happen. It can. I mean, luckily we found a second gear and a fire in our bellies in the second half, and we played lights out. But yeah, I was not thrilled at that moment. But the fact that that's the only touchdown they scored, I'm fine with that. I'm fine if our defense only gives up a field goal. I think we can beat anybody. So yeah, I was thrilled with that. Not to mention the game Lamar Jackson had. I mean, just continues to just play at an MVP level every single game. That touchdown pass to Isaiah Likely was insane. Was insane.
So pretty. It was so beautiful.
So awesome.
That's a running back who can throw, guys.
Yeah.
Is that quarterbacky enough? I think so. I think so.
That's a running back who can throw right there.
That's right. Dangerous combo.
Absolutely. The Ravens over the Texans, 34-10. We take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about a very exciting matchup between two NFC teams in the Bay Area. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. All right, boys. This next game, very, very exciting.
Baby hands.
The
Baby hands.
The San Francisco 49ers defeat the 7-seeded Green Bay Packers in Levi Stadium 24-21. What an interesting game this was.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting in the fact that I'll fully understand that Brock Purdy has baby hands and can't hold on to a wet ball. Brock Purdy was terrible in this game, but listen, at the end of the day, he made the plays that he needed to make at the end on the game-winning drive, and Jordan Love didn't. It's not like Jordan Love didn't have an opportunity to, but man, Jordan Love was pretty impressive in this game. The Packers as a whole were impressive. I mean, they were pretty much perfect for 58 minutes, and then, but the last 2 minutes they kind of faltered and let the San Francisco 49ers escape with the win. But definitely, I mean, look, it made me feel better as a Cowboys fan because I'm like, man, even San Francisco's having trouble with this team. Like maybe we didn't get out. Maybe it's just Green Bay is a better team than we thought. And they definitely are. I mean, you got to give Matt LaFleur, a lot of credit because he he's done a fantastic job with this young team. And who's to say how good this team would have been had they been able to get going a lot earlier in the season? They might have been able to compete for the division. But yeah, San Francisco, I mean, it was the same deal with them. I mean, they also were very rusty, given that they also had 2 weeks off. And also losing Deebo Samuel was huge because that's one of Brock's favorite targets. And honestly, Brock Purdy was just not good. Like, he just was really struggling to pass, and a lot of his completions were like not like in like at the guy. Like, a lot of guys had to contort themselves to make those catches. But like I said, at the end of the day, he made the plays that he needed to make to win the game. And that is a huge thing, because like that was a question about Brock Purdy that a lot of people had, given what happened during their 3-game slide, where not everything was perfect for them. And it was starting to become a question of, okay, if things aren't perfect for the 49ers, can they win? Well, they proved it here that they could win. I mean, it was downpouring a lot during that game. Obviously, like I said, Brock Purdy was having real trouble like gripping the ball. And you even saw on one of the replays where he's literally just like wiping his hand mid-play, trying to get a grip on the ball.
Yeah, that's bad. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but and granted, there were definitely some interceptions that would have changed the game had they been completed, but Green Bay didn't finish them. So, do I think the more deserving team, or do I think the better team won? I don't. I think Green Bay was the better team on the night. I think that they should have won, but at the end of the day, it was San Francisco who made the plays to win, and Green Bay had the opportunity, and Jordan Love made a really, really dumb pass. But
I mean, that pass, not to cut you off, but if that's the same pass on the last drive, if that's what you're referring to, you're not in a do or die situation there.
Well,
you have like 2 or 3 timeouts left.
I'm talking about the interception. I am talking about the interception.
Yeah.
But Jordan Love is a young, inexperienced quarterback.
Agreed.
And listen, if he completes it, we're all praising him, because we'll be like, oh my God, Patrick Mahomes has made that pass before, right? And it worked out for him, but it's not the smartest move to make as a quarterback. We saw what happened to Mac Jones when he tried it. We've seen, somebody literally put that clip of Jordan Love throwing that pass side by side with Brett Favre throwing that pass against the Saints in 2009. In the NFC Championship game, and it was literally beat for beat the same pass and the same result, interception. So even the biggest gunslinger, Brett Favre, low-key scumbag, not even low-key scumbag, high-key scumbag. But Brett Favre, obviously football legend, even he couldn't make that type of pass. So, look, it was a young mistake, and it's something that Jordan's going to have to learn from. Obviously, there was also the other thing of the kicker missed the field goal that would have had that game tied.
Yeah, they had a lot of missed opportunities.
So a lot of missed opportunities, missed interceptions, missed stuff here, but
did you hear what LaFleur said about
misquote? He already came out and clarified that.
No. Yeah,
Carlos is ready for that because he knows.
Did not know that.
Yeah, because you're not locked in, bro. You're not locked in like I am. You're not locked in.
It was actually a misquote.
So he clarified what he meant by that. It was it was a misquote. Like, he didn't actually mean like every time I said him out there, like I'm just praying he makes it. He clarified it. I didn't actually read the clarification. I didn't feel like reading it. I was too
the way it sounded in the broadcast.
Yeah, obviously in the broadcast, he's come out and clarified it. So relax. We don't have to bring it up anymore.
Yeah, but anyways, it was a kick that looked like it was going, and then it just bended out.
I honestly don't know how this kid got drafted, because you look at his college stats; they weren't good.
Yeah,
they weren't good.
Drafted in the 3rd round, nonetheless.
So you're really telling me
kicker. That's ridiculous.
You're really telling me there's not a more experienced kicker out there as a free agent that you could trust to make a 45-yard field goal? Nobody.
Gotta be someone.
Bring back Mason Crosby for Christ's sake.
Yeah, somebody. I mean, you guys nailed it. I think just the lack of playoff reps from Jordan Love showed. Obviously, this was his first full season as the starter, so he's never played the playoffs before. But you look at those last 4 possessions. I mean, you guys already kind of talked about this, but it's interception, punt, missed field goal, interception. And I really do think, obviously if they convert on one of those, we're looking at a different game with the Packers coming out on top. The 49ers did not play so well either, and it was a sloppy game across the board. So I think the weather had a lot to do with it. But the rust, I mean, it's a little concerning that the rust kind of lasted the whole game for the 49ers until McCaffrey scored late in the game, obviously, to put them up by 3, and it ended up being the go-ahead and difference in this on the scoreboard. But I kind of am a little concerned going into the NFC Championship game with this Niners team.
I am too.
And considering how the Lions are playing such inspired football right now, it's definitely going to be a challenge.
I'm not as worried because I feel like this was their wake-up game, right? This is their wake-up call, like, hey, like we really struggled. And it's not going to be raining on Sunday. Sure. It will not. It's going to be a beautiful day in Santa Clara, because they're not actually in San Francisco. Right. It's going to be a beautiful day there. So like they're not going to have that issue of the wet ball and Brock Purdy not being able to grip it and make the passes that he's normally used to. The only concern really is Debo going to play? Right now he's 50-50. So they're going to have to it's going to really come down. If Debo plays, I think San Francisco is in the clear. If he doesn't play, then I think we have the Lions really are going to have a better shot at winning if the whole cast of Avengers aren't there.
It's a good point because we know the Niners are a different team without all of the Avengers, even if one.
Well, we saw it. We saw it. We saw it.
Yeah. So it's I wasn't overly impressed by the 49ers, but I know the weather was bad and like I said, low scoring game by NFL standards, but yeah, I still think, obviously, like you said, Carlos, this definitely could serve as good motivation for them going into this game with the Lions. And, they know all about, I mean, they know the Lions are the talk of the town right now in the NFC. They know, they're probably as hot as anybody right now, I would say that Detroit is, and that city's fired up. So they're going to show out there on the road, I'm sure. But yeah, I think the Packers, this is a good build towards the future. Obviously, if they turn one of those turnovers or missed field goals or punts into points, we're looking at a different outcome of this game most likely. But yeah, I think moving forward, LaFleur, he's done a fantastic job there. Jordan Love has proven he's a solid quarterback, and they continue to build around him, give him some more receivers because I feel like that's one area that the Packers certainly.
I don't know if it's necessarily they need more receivers. They just need these guys to develop. The receivers they have are really good. They're just young.
Yeah, and I really like Romeo Doubs. I think
I like Romeo Doubs. I like him too. I like Christian Watson as well.
Yeah.
Well, what he showed against the Cowboys last season, the way he lit us up. I mean, that was very, very impressive. So like I've seen how good that kid can be. At the expense of one of my teams. So, and I think if he can stay healthy, because he's been having some hamstring issues, but if he can stay healthy and really develop, he's going to be a solid wide receiver for Jordan Love for years to come, as well as Dobbs as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think in that division too, of course, now you have the Lions to worry about, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up in that division and in the NFC in general. But yeah, I think the Niners escaped. They definitely got a little bit lucky in this game. I think,
they definitely survived. That's what it was. Yeah. They survived because,
But that's playoff football, right? Like most games aren't going to be blowouts. So, you just kind of take the good with the bad, and you march forward and you get ready for the next one, which is obviously a huge one for the Niners. If they win and the Ravens win, we once again have 2 number 1 seeds in the Super Bowl, which is kind of becoming a pattern, but I think it's going to be
Last year
A
wasn't
challenge.
2-1s, was it? Last
thought
year
it-
wasn't. No, I don't
I'll
think
have to- I'll
the
have to
Chiefs
check
weren't. Yeah, no, the Chiefs were the one. Yeah, no, it was 2-1s last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
sure.
was. It's 1-3. It's 1 versus 3 in both games.
Could have 2-3s matchup. That'd be something for sure.
I don't know. That's asking for a lot. That's asking for 2 massive upsets, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
Detroit definitely so. Yeah, that'd be a big upset for sure.
So, Dan, you mentioned that you were concerned with the 49ers play going into this game. And Carlos, you mentioned this is their wake-up call. It's playoff football here, ladies and gentlemen, and anything can happen. I think the 49ers are well coached enough to figure out what they need to do better. The play was alarming, but I could see it going either way because obviously their play, just looking based off their performance in this last game against the Packers, it's like, man, this isn't a good look.
Yeah,
going
no,
into the game.
if they come out and play the way they did against the Packers, the Lions can beat them.
Absolutely.
Because the Lions
Bingo,
have the
bingo.
horses. They have I don't know if the experience. I mean, they have Goff, who's obviously an experienced quarterback, but I don't know. Goff has never beaten the 49ers, but like they have, I don't know. They just have more to, like, I don't know. They just have better weapons that will definitely hurt the 49ers, and they're not going to make those miscues in terms of like Dan when he ran down the last, what was it, 4 drives of the Packers or something like that.
Yeah, just miscue after miscue.
Yeah, it's like they're not going to have those same miscues because that running attack is going to keep them in, the game. And so long as Goff doesn't go full Jared Goff, and and
one thing you're concerned with for sure.
yeah, but again, this isn't going to be in cold weather. It's going to be nice weather too. So like I have no worries about Jared Goff being affected by like elements or anything like that. It's just, does he make a bone? Will the pressure be too much for him? This is a guy who's been to a Super Bowl, so I hope it's not. But if it is, then yeah, the Lions are not going to be in good shape. They need Jared Goff to play at an elite level to win this game.
Yeah, agree 100%.
100% for sure. So with that, the 49ers with a win over the Green Bay Packers 24-21. Before we hit our next break, I am here for my good friends at Shenandoah Music, reminding you that Shenandoah Music is your local music superstore. They carry guitars, drums, bass, keyboard, wind instruments, PA gear, recording equipment, and more. They have the best selection and the best prices. And they also have the knowledge to make sure you're getting the gear you need. And with the Shenandoah Music credit card, you can buy now and pay it off over the next year. So when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester, across from B-Dubs.
Hey, Kirby on Sports Podcast listeners, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here. It may seem scary or daunting at first to think about buying or selling a home. Well, look no further. Give me a call, 540-247-1527. There's nothing more than I love to do than help my friends make those transactions fun, interesting, and at the end of the day, productive. Look me up online, iconsells.com, and even better, find me on my podcast, Iconic Talk, with my co-host Megan Eanes on any podcast platform. We will share all the local news about real estate markets and our local community. It's educational. Look us up. We'd love to help you. iconsells.com, 540-247-1527. Josh, back to you.
Welcoming you back to episode 201 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. We are chugging right along, breaking down the divisional round. In our next game, we are covering the number 3 Lions in the divisional round at home. Ford Field. It was an electric atmosphere. Shout out Don't Sleep.
Oh, I didn't know you were there. Were you there?
No.
All right. So how do you know the atmosphere was electric?
I mean, the TV cameras show a pretty good deal.
I'm just
Carlos.
giving you a hard time.
And then the
Works every
Buccaneers.
time.
Yeah. defeating the Buccaneers 31-23. I mean, the Lions, there's something special going on with that team. It's so great to see.
They really do bite off kneecaps nowadays.
They're biting off kneecaps.
It's impressive to watch, honestly.
And
They're a very well-rounded football team, and just
I'm sorry, they haven't beaten anybody. They haven't. I'm sorry. I got to poo-poo on this parade a little bit. They haven't beaten anybody.
I mean,
okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. They haven't beaten anybody. They beat the freaking Rams, who, granted, they are good, but they're like uber young. Okay, and they only beat them by 1 point. And then they beat a 9-8 team here in the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield. Like, I'm not impressed.
Denying that.
Okay, I'm not impressed, but am I happy for the city? Am I happy for the team? Am I happy about the story? 100%. This is one of the best storylines going on right now in the playoffs. Is the Detroit Lions getting to an NFC Championship game and possibly a Super Bowl like that? Like, right now, they got the biggest test in the 49ers. They beat the 49ers. Oh my God! Like, I'm fully on the bandwagon.
Grease the light poles in Detroit.
No, let's not do that. Let's let them tear that city to the ground.
There's not much left.
I don't know. That downtown area is apparently very, very nice. Yeah, no. I mean, look. I mean, yeah. I don't want to poo-poo on that parade too much, but like, let's keep it 100 here, guys. Like, they have had a pretty easy path, yeah. But it is a great story. I'm happy for the city of Detroit. They deserve it, man. That fan base has been cursed for years. And for it to be Jared Goff, of all people, to be the one who's leading this team to the promised land, I mean, crazy. Because this is a quarterback that was left for dead.
He was done.
You know what? Honestly, same for Baker Mayfield. I mean, what a great season for him. Like, granted, yeah, like I said, it wasn't like the Buccaneers were overly impressive in winning the division, but they won the division and they beat the Eagles. And they beat them handily. Yeah. And they were in this game. They were in this game for a good majority of it. Got a little interesting at the end. Obviously, they weren't able to get that 2-point conversion, which I think is the dumbest. I don't know. I don't like
that. Was one of the dumbest play calls of the season.
It was it was a play call meant to draw a pass interference, but Mike Evans didn't do it right. He didn't go into the defender. He kept leaning back, so you're not going to get interference on that.
Which is crazy that's your go-to play call for a 2-point conversion, but I guess you get the ball a half yard closer, and
basically you just get another shot. Yeah, but I don't know. It was a dumb play call. They should have just gone for the extra point, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm for Baker, it's the same thing, man. You know, this is a quarterback who was left for dead too. I mean, he was in Carolina last year. Did he get traded or cut?
I think he got cut after the
season. He got cut. Los Angeles picked him up.
Yeah, and then Los Angeles picked him up. Sean
McVay had nothing to pay for.
Sean McVay did his magic and really, reminded him, hey, you got to have fun doing this, which is something apparently Cleveland took out of him. And
I can imagine being in Cleveland will do that.
Well, they were trying to not let him be himself, Baker in college was, the brash, cocky, quarterback, but he could back it up because he was
People
playing
loved
like
him and
that.
hated him. That's the kind of person he was. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently Cleveland tried to really stifle that and not let him really show his personality. And then obviously he, then the Carolina thing didn't work out. Then he goes to Los Angeles, has a couple good games there, and then obviously comes to Tampa, and Tampa really got a lot out of that deal because it was only 1 year, $8 million, 1 year, $4 million, something like that.
Sunk in the cap. They needed a quarterback on a bargain.
And got another divisional title and got to the divisional round in the playoffs. I mean, it was a great year for Baker, in my opinion. And now it'll be interesting to see what they do next. But yeah, it was an exciting game for sure. I mean, I fell asleep during the first half, but that's just because I needed a nap for Chiefs Bills.
To see this Buccaneers team win the division by beating the Panthers 9-0, for them to get to the divisional round, it just looked like they were heating up at sort of the right time. I mean,
no one took them seriously, right? And then
Yeah.
they go out and they beat the Eagles, and it's like, oh, like okay.
I mean,
Like-
Baker made
Well,
some
hold
good
on.
throws in this game.
Like, well, here's the thing. Like, what was the talk? It was okay. What is your like for the for the person who for like the NFC East? What was the conversation? It was, what do you want more? Do you want to win the division or do you want to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And a lot of people were saying, oh, the better path is getting that 5th seed and facing the NFC South winner because that's going to be a cakewalk. Well, look what happened.
Yep. Yeah, the Eagles had a lot of holes and a lot of, issues, and the Bucs exposed them for sure. And I think, they've been a great story. Baker Mayfield's been a great story here in the playoffs, and it's unfortunate it had to come to an end like it did. And he wasn't able to complete the comeback. Like you said, Carlos, the 2-point conversion, just I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense in that situation. You just take the extra point because it's either 6 or 7. Like, okay, it doesn't move the needle at all. Why in that situation? That's your play call. I don't know. But it was a great season for the Bucs, especially in the playoffs. I think a lot of people, like Carlos said, had written them off, and especially coming out of that division that was abysmal this year. Let's call it what it is. But got to credit them where credit's due. I think Baker Mayfield's going to make a lot of money in the offseason.
It's just how much do you really pay the guy, though?
Listen, quarterbacks do much less and get paid ridiculous amounts of money. So I'm looking at you, Daniel Jones.
I guess you get 100%, but I guess I guess that's the question. It's like, how much does? I mean, it was one good season, right? But like,
that's all it takes.
I don't know, man.
Listen, man. That's.
But like, that's what I'm saying. It was one season. It was one good season. But it's like, how much is that worth? Like, are we talking? Like, obviously, he can't. He's not demanding. He can't demand Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes money, right? But like, maybe I guess the Daniel Jones range is really how much you have to pay the guy.
He has more playoff wins than Daniel Jones. I mean,
that is true.
It's the quarterback.
He has more division titles than Daniel Jones too.
That's right. With 2 different teams. Well, I guess did the Browns win the division? Maybe.
No, they did not. That year they were a wild card when they.
That's right. When they beat Pittsburgh.
When they beat Pittsburgh, they were a wild card. It was Pittsburgh who won the division.
That was a good team. That was a good Browns team. Yeah. So the quarterback market's pretty nuts. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets paid pretty well. We'll see what happens.
Somebody will pay him. If it's not Tampa, somebody's going to pay the guy.
Yeah. And I think for the Lions, I mean, they were just kind of steady throughout this game. I wasn't overly impressed with how they played. I thought Jared Goff had a great game. Obviously, no turnovers, which is huge. Like Carlos said, the biggest thing,
as long as he doesn't turn over the ball.
Like Carlos said at the top, if he protects the football, the Lions can win. So it's going to be huge for them. Yeah. Besides that, I don't have much else to add to this game. The Bucs
I just loved it.
The Bucs just cracked late in the game, and the Lions stayed strong and did what they had to do to pull this one out. And yeah, that stadium was electric, and they showed that again. That 66-year season ticket holder, he's having the time of his life. Let's just say it. Like, it's just.
I wonder if he's going to be in San Francisco.
You know what? I hope the team gets him tickets. Honestly, like I don't know if that's allowed, but I'm sure it is actually. What am I saying?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Because they get Chiefs probably get Taylor Swift up there. So.
Well, Travis has to pay for that, but.
Well, he's got the money, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to get the box himself and all that. Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't.
Yeah. Players have to pay for the. I mean, it was Joe Burrow giving his box to Jake Browning's family. Yeah, like they have to pay for it. And Travis talked about it on his podcast. Yeah, how like the players have to pay for it. Like they have to. Yeah.
Not that money. Not that money's a factor, but if you're a player, I wonder if they get discounts on the suite.
No,
probably not.
No, absolutely not.
If anything, probably the opposite. They're probably inflating that, so they have to pay more. So
get some of that money back.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but is it actually paying for the whole box suite? I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. You probably get everything.
You're talking to the wrong guy. It's not like I own one, so I can't tell you.
Man,
I'm just going based off of what I know.
Yeah.
I can barely afford nosebleed tickets. Yeah. I'm not that guy, pal.
I'm not that guy. I make
But
good
yeah.
money, but I don't make that money.
I'm not that 1%. But yeah, I thought
1%, the top 1%.
It's derailed. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. I felt like Ford Field in that environment was kind of the main reason the Lions came out on top. They were just fired up, and the Lions played again, not great, but just good enough to win this game. So,
Yeah.
And
credit to Detroit's defense too.
Oh yeah.
They stepped up and
I got off track a little bit, boys, but the Lions playoff win yesterday to move on to the NFC Championship game. 3 years ago to that day, Dan Campbell in his introductory press conference.
It's wild.
Biting off kneecaps.
Yeah, we
You're
all
stooge. I just want to say that, Kirby. You're a stooge.
Hey, that's not my
You're
word.
such a stooge, dude.
Just listening to his press conference after the Lions win, going back and listening, I'm like, this man just brings some sort of energy to that team.
You want to hug his nuts a little harder?
Whatever, Carlos. The Lions 31, Bucks 23. One more break, and we will get to the final matchup in the divisional round as the Chiefs defeat the Bills. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Mark Peter Lynch with Guild Mortgage. One of the greatest joys in doing business over the last 30 years in the Shenandoah Valley is helping people buy their first home. Buying their first home and putting the keys in their hand at the closing table has brought me so much joy. If you want to buy your first home, a second home, or an investment property, or build wealth through investment in real estate, give me a call. My phone number is 540-664-4700, or you can find me on the World Wide Web at www.marksmortgage.com.
Bedbugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bedbug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bedbugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
Welcome back. Carlos, are you ready?
I'm always ready. No, not yet. We're not at home. We can't do that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not at Arrowhead.
Oh, that's only a win at home.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Or the Super Bowl.
I thought it would be cool to do, but I
No.
understand. Well, the Chiefs get the victory over the Bills in what seems to be becoming a very, very great rivalry between these two teams.
Hold on. I believe we took something from them. I think we took the September championship away from those boys. Oh, you're so close, Josh Allen, but you gotta be quicker than that. You gotta be quicker than that. You know, maybe not go wide right.
He's cursed. He's Josh Allen's cursed.
Wide right. What a cursed franchise. They missed the Super Bowl field goal wide right, and they missed the opportunity to tie the game wide right. Oh my God. Yeah. What a stressful, epic game, as it always is. Is it a rivalry? I don't know if you could call it a rivalry, because while yes, the Bills do beat us in the regular season, when it matters the most,
they've never beaten you guys.
They can't beat us. They can't beat us. And they had it perfectly for them this time. They had it at their house. They were, the Chiefs aren't necessarily the Chiefs of old. Like, it was just, everything was written perfectly for them, and they still couldn't do it.
Well, I must say Scott Norwood was probably sitting on his couch somewhere being like, oh no, not again.
I don't know who that is, bro.
The kicker who missed the field goal wide right.
I
the
don't follow Bill's history like that. So I just know that the kicker missed wide right. Yeah, look, I don't know. I want your guys' thoughts first before I go into my thoughts.
Yeah, I'll give you my thoughts. Jason Kelsey was absolutely wild in the box suite.
Probably 12 beers deep, but he was awesome, man. He was awesome.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that was. I love Jason Kelsey, man. That guy's an absolute legend. I would love to have a beer with that man. But obviously I'm not trying to get too deep into Swifty lore right now. But the main meeting that everybody was anticipating was the meeting between Taylor and Jason's wife Kylie Kelsey, or Queen Kayana as everybody calls her. But yeah,
Queen. Yep.
everybody was waiting for that. We got some pictures of it. It was epic. It was awesome. It was yeah.
Surprised it took so long, really.
Well, Philly, Jason was playing at the same time.
True.
Taylor was on tour in Brazil when Philadelphia came to Kansas City, so she wasn't able to come to the game.
Good
so, point. Now that I wonder if they'll all be in Baltimore. I really do. I hope they are. Come see that beautiful stadium.
It's a great stadium.
Maybe she'll add it to her tour list.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Tickets will be so overpriced.
Oh, of course, always.
Anyways, but we're getting off topic. Your thoughts on the games, boys?
I thought it was back and forth.
Really good game.
It seemed like Mahomes was targeting Kelsey a lot. Travis Kelsey, obviously, and he made some good plays happen. I mean, the Bills. Can we just address the elephant in the room? Well, why are you fake punting? Come on.
To the guy, to DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah,
the guy who died and came back.
They
died on the field.
They were trying to make a storybook something that wasn't gonna.
No, so apparently it was they saw that because Kansas City only had 10 men on the field.
They still stopped them.
Yeah, they only had 10. They only had 10 men. And apparently they checked to the play because of that. And it just went horribly wrong. It just went horribly wrong.
Yeah, and you give Kansas City the ball in Buffalo territory. It's like
it's
that's
like,
just stupid.
Granted, luckily for them, we didn't score on that because then that was the McCole Hardman fumble out the end zone. Dumbest rule in the NFL. Makes no sense. I really hope they change it because I've been screwed by that rule twice this season.
All right, let me ask you how would you? My feeling is you have to what's the word? You have to penalize the team who fumbles it through the end zone. Right?
I don't know what the answer is, but I just feel like it being you fumble it out the end zone and it's a turnover and it goes to the 20-yard line makes no sense to me, in my opinion. Because like any other time, it just goes right back to the spot where it was fumbled. So maybe that's the rule change. It just changes that. I don't know. I don't know what you do there.
Since it happened it happened in this game, I feel like they'll
it's gonna change because if anything happens in this game, it changes.
It's the Chiefs, yeah, because we all know what
with the Chiefs and Bills, no matter what, if something controversial happens with a rule, it changes the next year. So
yeah, it's a hard
thank you because I freaking hate this rule. It's the dumbest rule ever.
It happens so rarely. I don't know. It is silly, but it's like I don't know. It's a tough one, but no,
I don't know. Change it to if you fumble it out of the back of the end zone, just
the Bills got the
team up.
The Bills got lucky in that situation, and they had plenty of chances to not only tie this game up but to take the lead, and they just couldn't. I mean, their lack of offense was incredible. You got to give Kansas City a lot of credit defensively for how they were able to stop Josh Allen and this offense cold. I mean, they forced 2 or 3 3-and-outs in a row or something, and I mean.
So I'll say this: yes, the passing defense was great because Buffalo's whole game plan in this game was to stick what they were doing well, which was the run game. So they were running a lot, and our run defense was really bad in this game. In all honesty, it was. I mean, Cook was getting like 7, 8, 9 yards a carry. It was ridiculous. It was getting very frustrating how we couldn't stop him. Where the game then changed is when it became like Josh Allen needed to pass to get the ball down the field, because, you know, that strategy works when the other quarterback is not able to get going either. Patrick Mahomes was getting his team down quickly to score. So we were keeping pace. Now, this is the same strategy they used against Dallas, right? Just be super physical, run it down their throats, limit their time of possession, keep that offense off the field. And it worked against Dallas because A, Dallas is a front runner, and B, they, you know, if you smack them in the mouth, we never respond well. Well, Kansas City is different because they got 15 on their side, and he's going to keep them in the game no matter what. And Patrick Mahomes, you know, was coming on, and they were just driving down the field quickly. And granted, the injuries showed greatly in this game for the Buffalo Bills. The reason why Travis Kelce was uber successful is because they had like their third, fourth string linebackers in, you know, and obviously also Travis also had 2 weeks to get healthy. Apparently he was banged up, so he had time to heal from an injury that he's been, you know, dealing with.
Yeah, he looked about as good as I've seen him look all season.
This was his best game for sure. I mean, 2 touchdowns, and they were great touchdowns too. It could have been 3 touchdowns, honestly. But Patrick missed him on the corner route. But yeah, Buffalo then like where it changes, Buffalo then needed to move quickly. So then they started making Josh have to pass it. And, you know, a lot of guys just didn't make plays. I mean, Stephon Diggs, for one, did not make that catch on that bomb, that 60-yard bomb that went right
between his hands. Yep. True.
Number 11 had it in his hand, like right here against his chin, and when he landed, the ball moved and all that stuff. Obviously there was the the fumble was there was the fumble, Josh Allen fumbling, but luckily they were able to get it back. Kansas City eventually clamped down on them in the second half, but that first half, man, like, yeah, Buffalo was just moving the ball, and it was getting really frustrating because I was like, man, like, this game stresses me out because I just know it's always going to be an epic game between them, and Josh Allen is so hard for Kansas City to stop, and and it's just because of his size and the way he can move. It's tough, but in the biggest moments, man, I mean, Chris Jones made the play in terms of pushing the lineman into Josh Allen so that he couldn't step up into that throw to Shakir. And that's why that last pass into the end zone was so short to Shakir, because he just couldn't drive. He couldn't like step up and drive into it. And then obviously, you know, I mean, I was not thinking miss at all. Like I was like, all right, we're going to go to overtime. Or actually, no, I wasn't thinking overtime. I was like, all right, they left a lot of time on the clock. Kansas City has 2 minutes, has 2 timeouts left.
That was my thought as well.
I was not thinking
plenty of time.
I was not thinking miss.
No.
So like when he missed it, you best believe I lost it. I went crazy. I was like, oh my God. And then of course it was like, okay, they just need to get 1 first down. And then Pacheco breaks it for that first run that goes 9 yards. And I was like, oh my God, this is even better than getting the first down, because now they have to burn a timeout and they only have 1 left. So then we get the first down on the next play. Then they burn the timeout. They have no more timeouts left. And I was like, that's game, man. We have this. Heartbreak for Buffalo fans, obviously, because dude, come on.
It's just been their whole existence.
We're just in
the playoffs.
This is just we're just their kryptonite. And I know I kind of know what they're going through, because this is how I feel about San Francisco when it comes to Dallas, right? It's the one team you can't get over. And so I know firsthand what it feels like. But boy, it does feel better to be on the other side knowing you own a team. It really does, especially because Buffalo talked so much trash, being like, you know, like he's never been, you know, to you know, whatever Highmark Stadium.
Yeah, he's never been on the road in the playoffs.
He's never been on the road in the playoffs.
Never been to Buffalo.
He's never been there to for real, because he's been there once, but it was during COVID, so there were no fans there. So they were like, he's never experienced Bills Mafia and all that. Bro,
that's why people need to shut their mouths, man.
We live in like we play in Arrowhead. It's not like he doesn't know what loud sounds like. He's in that stadium all the time. Now, granted, it's not against him, but Patrick looked comfortable, man. Patrick didn't even look phased.
He didn't look out of his element at all. Yeah,
like Patrick Mahomes, man. He's just
that's who he is.
He's the best, man. He's number one. Like
he's the number one.
He's playing like Tom Brady in his mid-30s played, where it just felt like no matter what, Tom Brady's going to come through. There's no moment too big for this cat. And oh my God, I just love watching him play, because like he's just going to make the right plays, and he's going to make incredible plays. And you've just never seen anything like him, like ever. And granted, sure, Josh Allen played great, but like, it's just Patrick Mahomes is just like 1% better than him, and that's like a huge gap, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's certainly been an issue for the Bills. I mean, I know, I forget what I was gonna say, but I will say that Mahomes is just Mahomes. I mean, he is the Tom Brady of his generation. He's definitely on his way to becoming that. Now, obviously, he's got some rings to catch up with.
He's keeping pace. I mean.
But he is. If he wins
going
this year, especially if he wins.
Well, going into their 7th seasons in the league, Brady had only 3 Super Bowls, and Patrick has 2 right now. So it's not like Patrick is that far off of him, right? Like,
true.
And there's plenty more for him to win, coming up. Like, it's again, he's only 28. He's a young kid.
Yeah, he's not slowing down anytime soon.
No.
So yeah, it's It sucks to see the Bills continue to just have these struggles in the playoffs, but I mean, they were the hot team in the AFC. I mean, I guess you could say the Ravens as well, but the Bills coming into the postseason, I mean, everyone was talking about them, and I know we were too. We said, like, look, they deserve props for how they finished out the regular season, and how we thought coming into the playoffs they were gonna be right up there with the Chiefs, and yeah, this is the matchup I think we all were circling and we all wanted to see all season long.
It's always an epic game, man.
It never disappoints.
Just like, I mean, I don't think this is their most iconic game, just because you have the 13-second game, which of course we have our live stream reactions to that. I love going back and seeing how we reacted, and have the game on at the same time, just to see, like, okay, this is about to happen. Let's see how we react. It's always a lot of fun. So if you guys want to see how we reacted to that legendary game, just go back into the archives. You'll find it.
So
but yeah, man, but I just feel like this is probably the most devastating, because at least in that one, you were like, okay, we just never got the ball back, right? But like in this one, like, you had you had a chance to win and a chance to tie it, and for it to go just disastrously, like you guys were in position and the kicker messes it up, and then you have it at home. You guys did everything you did in the regular season to get it to this position. Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game, and you blew it. Like, you blew it. You had it all and you blew it. Like, that's what it was.
Yeah, with 13 minutes left, that fumble goes through the end zone. It's the same score, so you got a chance right there to to tie.
Well, yeah, and then they punted it. They punted it on that. Like, they didn't even get points out of that.
Yeah.
And it's not like Kansas City scored any more points after that. Like,
no, it was punt in the game. That was it.
Yeah, it was punt. Drives. Then, yeah, pretty much. Like, it was not a great. I don't know. It was. I feel like this is the most deflating loss for Bills fans, because they've always been saying, they're like, oh, well, let's see what happens when we get Mahomes and the Chiefs at our house. And this is what happened. We just did the same thing that we always do. There are 3 things guaranteed. There are 4 things guaranteed in life. There's death, taxes, Kirby comes in last place on the pick'ems, and the Chiefs dominate the Bills in the playoffs, baby.
You had to throw that in there. You had to throw me in there.
He stopped. If you saw, like, he's like, I got to put this one in there.
I got to throw it in there.
It is true.
I have to.
We're sorry, but facts are facts.
Well, listen, this game, another great game, nonetheless.
That's another classic for sure.
A classic.
But hold on. Okay, but here's the question for you guys, right? So this is the 2nd straight year that Buffalo has been bouncing the divisional round at home.
Mm-hmm.
3rd year in a row, okay? Mm-hmm. They lost to the Chiefs, obviously, in the 13-second game. They lost to the Bengals last year in the snow. Damar Hamlin's return to the stadium post, post the whole incident.
Yep.
And then this year against the Chiefs, the wide right game. I guess that's what we're going to call this one, the wide right 2.0.
2.0, exactly.
2.0.
Yeah.
That's 3 years in a row you're knocked out in the divisional round. This is a team that gets Super Bowl hype every year.
Yep.
And so I have 2 questions for you. How much do you put on Josh Allen for these blunders? And what do you do with Stephon Diggs? Because Stephon Diggs has been non-existent at the second half of this season. And also, like, it kind of went the same way last year where he kind of disappeared too. And he's starting to get up there in age. Like, what do you do with him? It's clear he's not happy in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think you got to move on from him. If he was as great as he's supposed to be, you step up in the playoffs, you step up in these moments, and like you said, the last couple seasons he hasn't.
He was non-existent in this game.
No, and he had one of the biggest drops of the game, so it's extremely frustrating. So I think you move on from him. You see what else is out there. I think the Bills will do that. They're a smart organization. I think they run really well, so I think they'll do that. And then, Josh Allen. It's like, I mean, he had his chances. Like they had their chances with 13 minutes left, down by 3. You have to find a way to get your team down the field and get them in striking distance, at least to tie the game. Now, obviously, he did. At one point late in the game, we saw what happened. Obviously, the missed kick. So, but I do think he deserves definitely some of the blame here. I don't think you can blame him completely, because I felt like at times, especially in the third quarter of this game, I felt like Buffalo's defense certainly let them down time and time again, especially on 3rd down. I felt like Kansas City was just killing them on 3rd down and getting every 3rd down conversion. But yeah, as the leader of a team, as the quarterback, you deserve a lot of you deserve that. You deserve it when it's good, and you deserve some praise when it's good, and you deserve not when it's bad. So, not that it's bad necessarily, but I think Josh Allen definitely could have had a better football game. He only had 1 touchdown, and he didn't have a bad pick or anything like that. But that's a long-winded answer. I'm really sorry, but yeah, I think you do have to blame him a little bit. He's your franchise quarterback. It all goes back to the franchise quarterback in these types of situations, in these moments.
I think Stephon Diggs, the Bills have to move on from him. I just don't feel like he's producing as well as he once was.
Yeah.
That's just in my mind, plain and simple. For your next question, just taking into account also what this Bills team has gone through with a change at the offensive coordinator, because
they got a lot better when that change happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So taking into account the offensive coordinator change with Joe Brady coming in as the interim, like you said, Carlos, they did a lot better, but the blame on Josh Allen, I think there should be some. But again, do you look at Joe Brady and maybe he didn't scheme stuff up correctly?
To me, so for me, it was just guys didn't finish plays, right? It was the drops. It was just that, really, because And you got to also factor in that he was missing a lot of he was missing big game Gabe Davis. Like the guy didn't play in this game. And I do think that would have been a huge factor had he did play, because that dude always shows up against Kansas City. So when that news came out that he was going to be out for the game, I was like, oh, that's music to my ears. I don't have to worry about him, because that dude will make plays. And I'm with you guys. I think he obviously Josh Allen deserves some of the blame, but it's like, what do you really blame him for? I mean, I guess, yeah, you can blame him for some of the, passes that he decided to, some of his decision making going long instead of, there's Dalton Kincaid is, wide open coming down, the middle.
Every quarterback misses passes. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, but it's so I guess you could blame him for that, for trying to go for the home run instead of just going for the easy completion. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess what you really put the blame on is how come you're not delivering in these big moments the way that, again, Mahomes has been delivering, the way Joe Burrow has delivered, the way that Lamar delivers in big moments. I mean, obviously Lamar's more recent. He's had his blunders in the playoffs. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that's more of what you could start to hold Josh out. You're getting paid as one of the top quarterbacks. His cap hit is going to balloon up next season. So they're going to have to make some changes to this team. But if we're going to pay you all this money, like, we need you to deliver in these big moments. And he just hasn't delivered, in my opinion. Obviously not. I mean, they've only been to one AFC Championship game, and that was years ago, in which they lost to the Chiefs again. And
2020, yeah.
Yeah, and the Chiefs won that game pretty handily. Like, that wasn't one of their classic games.
It was like 38-24.
It was 30-20. So, yeah, Josh Allen's got to really, ask himself some questions, and it'll be worth it. They'll eventually get over us. Like it just has to happen. It's gonna break their way once, and it's gonna be the biggest party for them. It is heartbreaking to see for them, because like they really thought that this was their time, and you saw it in the fans when the game was over. Like they were hurt, and as a fan of a fan base who, as a fan of a team who constantly lets them down the way the Cowboys have let me down, I know that pain all too well. But again, it feels so good to be on the other side.
Yeah.
I think you said it perfectly. This fan base has waited for the time to when they will beat the Chiefs, because like you said, you thought this was their year, but they lose by 3 points and miss field goal. In this fan base, you could see it. I saw one fan just in tears over it as well. So
it's emotional.
I think that time comes soon, but unfortunately, it just did not go the Bills' way this year.
It's just like when, right? Because we keep saying that, like.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's like
it's
when
the Bills' year. It's the Bills' year. It's the Bills' year.
Well, I don't know. I never think it's the Bills' year, but that's because I like the Chiefs. So
we're more realists. I like to think on this show more than others. But
I don't know. I've never thought that the Bills have ever been the best team in the AFC. I've never thought it. Like, I never think that they have, like, I don't know. A lot of shows to this morning are like ranking the quarterbacks, and for some reason, everybody keeps leaving out Joe Burrow. I'm like, why are we forgetting about the guy who literally takes Mahomes to the absolute limit? In a way that I don't even think Josh Allen does. I think Josh Allen like pushes Mahomes, obviously, but I think Burrow is like
just another level. Yeah.
Burrow just does it to like where like I'm always legitimately scared whenever we're playing Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
like
I'm with you 100%.
But I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about but they keep saying it's Buffalo's year. It's
Oh.
Buffalo's year. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just never like looked at their roster, looked at their team, and thought, oh yeah, that's definitely going to be the team. Like they're the best team. I always think Cincinnati has a better roster, or Kansas City has a better roster, Baltimore has a better roster. So I never have them winning. At least the past few years, I've never had them winning the Super Bowl or anything like that. Real quick though, little side note, classless by the fans to be throwing snowballs at Patrick Mahomes while he's trying to give, kids some stuff, and just like them throwing snowballs in general throughout the games, because they were throwing it all the time.
They had to stop a couple times, because of the snowballs.
Yeah, they got to say something over the PA system or something, like to tell them like, hey, like stop, like what are we doing here? Like I don't know.
What you do is you say you can't come to any games next year if they catch people doing it, throwing it on the field especially. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's just like, this isn't freaking Mexico where they throw bags of pee on the players. Like,
yeah,
what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, it's messed up.
Well, the Chiefs with the win over the Bills, and with that,
how about them Chiefs?
I'm not singing it.
No, we're not doing it because it wasn't at home.
Yeah.
With that, the championship rounds are set for the NFC and AFC championship game. The Chiefs traveling to the Ravens, the Lions traveling to San Francisco, and we go straight in to the Kirby on Sports PickEm for championship weekend this upcoming Sunday. Yes, Carlos, I am the loser. Take it away.
All right, boys. Well, after the greatest
you
weekend
didn't
in
even put an
football-
L on top of my face. Come on now.
Why are you asking for
How
it?
about you shut your mouth
and
when
let the winners talk? Let the winners
when the
talk.
competitors are talking. Losers stay silent. Thank you. Anyways, so yeah, after the greatest weekend in football, of course, which is the divisional round. I always think the divisional round is always the funnest weekend of
Usually
the
is.
playoffs. And this one definitely lived up to the hype. We let's just say that I managed to stay alive. I managed to stay alive because I was on the brink of elimination, but the Kansas City Chiefs pulled it off for me. So yeah, with that, the standings still are. Dan is in first place at 79-39. He's gonna hit you're gonna hit the 80 club, man. You're gonna hit it.
It's impressive.
I am in second place at 78-40. And Kirby, of course, is eliminated, but is at 68-50, 10 games behind myself and 11 games behind Dan.
Kirby.
The Kirby zone, man. What a rough zone to be in.
At least
So, of course,
I went 4-0 last week. Not that it matters.
Ooh, I went 4-0, but I'm already out of the freaking thing. By the way, I had to do
that in week 3, Kirby. What?
I had to do an audit just to make sure that his record was correct, because it doesn't make sense. How is the difference between my wins and losses 28? I don't know. I'm like psyching myself out. No, 38, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 38, but then his is 18, and he's only 10 games behind me.
That maths though.
That math's not mathing to me for some reason.
Oh, it's mathing.
It does not math to me. How does it math?
You mean how does it add up, or how does
like obviously it's the same amount of games, right?
Yeah,
I added them up in the same amount of games.
Sure.
But I don't get how my difference is 38 and his is only 18. And with only a 10-game split.
Oh yeah, that is weird.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense to me.
We might have to go back and
I might have to do a serious audit to make sure that I have it correct. But like when you add them up, it's the same amount of games.
Yeah, it is. That is, now that you mention it, that is bizarre though.
It's so bizarre, right?
Wow.
Well, you don't have to worry that much because I'm still the loser.
Well, it's about the integrity of me doing the records and not screwing you over by
we have rules and regulations here.
Thank you.
By maybe like giving you some losses that you didn't have. I don't know. Like something just feels off. So I'm going to go through and double check I started to. Everything was going correct. I stopped at week 11 because I was like, dude, this is exhausting. So
that's a lot. That's a lot to come through.
As of right now, up until week 11, your record is correct. I'm going to go from week 11 on to just double check because the math ain't math in there for some reason. Anywho.
It is weird.
Anywho. With that being said, of course, we're picking the conference championship games. Of course, starting with Baltimore, Kansas City, and then San Francisco, Detroit. My picks are obviously very simple. Oh, also a little wrinkle that we added in last season that we decided to bring back this season is we also predicted the scores. So if we guess the team correct and we get the score prediction correct, Jesus, that was a tongue twister for me. That the score prediction is an extra point. So basically, you have a chance to get double the points in this round. So if my picks are correct and my score prediction is correct, then I get 2 points, and that should possibly help me overtake Dan. But it looks like a tall task for me to do. I'm still 1 game behind Dan with only 3 games to go. So we're coming down to the wire here. I could get eliminated here, and Dan could seal his championship win before the Super Bowl.
But I could not also.
You could also not. So with that being said, my picks are simple. I will take the Kansas City Chiefs over the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, I'm contractually obligated to take the Chiefs. My heart is with the Chiefs, of course. I just think as long as I have Patrick Mahomes on my side, I always have a shot to win. But my head obviously is more logical, and the more logical thing is Baltimore's going to win. But I will take the Chiefs with the final score of 28-24. And then for San Francisco, Detroit, I will obviously take San Francisco by a score of 35-31. I think San Francisco just makes that play at the end. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think the defense is going to get a couple stops, and ultimately the 49ers offense is going to get that game-winning score. And with that being said, I will send it to your first place compatriot, I guess you could say, Dan Dembski.
Thank you, Carlos. It's been one hell of a season. We've come down here, our teams and our pick'ems.
We're down to the wire as always, man.
This is insane. So yes, I am going to pick the Baltimore Ravens at home over the Kansas City Chiefs. A little bit of an odd score, but I thought, why not? I don't know if that's a scoregami, probably not, but
no, definitely not.
No, I'm gonna take the Ravens 30-20. I know a 2-possession win seems like a lot, but I think the Ravens defense is good enough to hold the Chiefs offense around that 20 to 24 mark, possibly. And then I think the Ravens offense will have a pretty good day against the Kansas City defense that hasn't really seen an offense quite as dynamic as the Ravens this year. And yeah, I think the Ravens punched their ticket to Vegas, and I think they will face the San Francisco 49ers, who I have taking down the Detroit Lions 34-28. I think the Niners are clearly the better football team right now, talent-wise, across the board. I do think the Lions will fight really hard in this game, but I think it's going to come down to just who makes enough plays, obviously. And I think the Niners just have too much talent, too much depth, and also experience in this type of situation, too, that I think is going to make a big difference in this game. And therefore, I'm going to take the Niners. So Ravens-Niners in the Super Bowl. With that, I'll throw it to your host and CEO, Josh Kirby. I'm not going to say
loser,
world's biggest loser, but you feel
world's biggest loser.
Well, I'm going to get a little sentimental here.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Directed to Carlos. Carlos, I do not have the brightest of brains, but you made this magic work, and the pick'em's a lot of fun. Good.
Yeah, it is, because you get to lose every year.
Are you going to let me finish, buddy? It's good fun between the three of us to pick between a set of games and track how we do or how bad we do, in my opinion. For me,
but the beautiful thing about it is we all have winning records. So I mean that's got to count for something, right?
Yeah, but still, I'm mathematically eliminated. But Carlos, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for putting this together each and every week throughout the course of the season. It's been one great ride. And with that, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens over the Kansas City Chiefs 27-17. I think the Ravens have a couple more big plays, and their defense holds up strong to this Kansas City offense. I think the Ravens get it done at home. In Motor City, Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions with a big upset over the San Francisco 49ers. I think the 49ers have one slip up over the Lions, and the Lions They have to play perfect football, which I think they will do. 31-24, the Detroit Lions.
Oh my
They're
god!
facing the Ravens
you
in
know
the
what the
Super
Gotta go
Bowl.
out with a
thing is?
blunder as per usual.
You know what the craziest thing was? The Ravens killed both of these teams in the NFC. I'm not worried about either of them. Like I know the games would be a lot closer in the Super Bowl, but
I mean,
and someone has to pick the Lions. So
Hey,
Kirby, you know what? I got to give you a little bit of a thumbs up there. I mean, it's a ballsy
I'm
pick.
sorry,
It's
but
probably
that's
gonna
so.
be wrong.
This
It's
is
gonna be
why he
wrong.
lost. This is why he lost, though. Is because he makes dumb picks like this. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I understand Detroit is the hot story right now, but come on, let's be honest here. Like, you gotta pick San Francisco because that's the best pick to make. Like,
They are the better team.
like I'm not saying this isn't possible, right? By the way, if you notice, we all three have different Super Bowl matchups. Ravens, 49ers,
true.
Chiefs, 49ers, Ravens, Lions. But I mean, come on, Kirby. Like when you sent me that, I was like, dude, are you really gonna go with the Lions? I mean, you have nothing to lose at this point because you already lost. But I mean, you could be right. You could be right, and I could be eating crow next week.
I hope you're not eating Raven. Aha, that was a good one.
Oh, that's a good one. Ah,
Very
oh,
similar
good
birds.
one.
Very similar.
Good
birds.
one. That's a great one.
With
my dad
that,
joke of
that
the day.
is the conference championship pick'em. And with that, that concludes episode
3 games
201
left, man.
of
3
the
games
Kirby on
left.
Sports podcast.
It's nuts.
Gentlemen, as you just said, Carlos, 3 more games left.
That's depressing.
Yeah, it's very depressing.
I feel like football season just started. Like I really do.
It really does, yeah.
Hey,
Like this
can't
season
wait.
flew. I'm
It
so
went by
mad.
fast.
Hey, UFL starts March 30th.
Dude, shut the hell up about the UFL, all right? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about spring football. You're watching a bunch of 5th stringers play, guys who can't cut it in the NFL.
I wonder what Carlos's opinion is on the UFL. Huh?
I mean, listen, I'm rooting for it just because The Rock owns it, but I'm not going to watch.
Brendan Aubrey came from the USFL before they merged, so that's something.
Cool.
All right. And I think Turpin did too, if I remember correctly.
Again,
All right, can
cool.
we move on?
Well,
Finish up.
gentlemen,
Take us out
Your
strong.
next quarterback's coming from the UFL.
probably, and
Probably.
we're going to go 0-17.
That
Goddamn
new
right.
That new genius GM. He's a heck of a talent scout, I hear.
Evidently.
I don't know. We'll have to do an episode on that. That's a conversation. For
I don't think we have to do one, but maybe you can have a guest on.
That's on you, buddy.
Well, gentlemen, a lot of fun as always, and looking forward to Championship Sunday, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
Oh
yeah.
my god, dude. I can't wait.
This is crazy.
I can't wait, dude. Our teams are actually facing off each other in a game of importance. Like
Oh, it's crazy.
it's been so long since we've had a Mahomes-Lamar matchup just because of the past 2 years of the Ravens being just so injury ridden. Like
Yeah.
we've been robbed of this matchup, and like the fact that we're finally getting it in the championship game. It's I'm so excited. I can't wait.
I really hope this is the next Brady Manning. I know that's a.
I know
that'd be a
that they're
stretch,
putting
but-
that obviously on Mahomes Allen, but yeah. I mean,
I think it could be Lamar over Allen, especially if the Ravens win.
I mean, it could also be Burrow. Burrow,
Mhm.
Mahomes. I don't know. Either way, Mahomes is going to be involved in it, but I just hope that this is an epic matchup.
Yeah.
And I hope that I just may the best team win because
Totally
again,
agree.
I win either way because I will have somebody to support in the Super Bowl.
There you
Whether
go.
it be Baltimore, whether it be Kansas City, I will support the winner of this team
There you
or
go.
of this game.
Yes, sir. It's
For
gonna be fun.
the Weapon Dan Dembski and the Swiss Army Knife Carlos Martinez, I am Josh Kirby. A huge thanks to our sponsors, as always, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, changing really soon, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Shenandoah Music, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. Find us on all streaming platforms, all social media platforms. Like, comment, subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts. And until the next time we speak, Always remember to create greatness.
Oh, he brought it back!
And peace out.